Hi everyone. Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Um, a really exciting day today. We've got our members' day, so we're meeting lots and lots of people that we work with. But I seem to have developed a bit of dry cough, so I'm really sorry. Might not be. My speech might be a little broken by me kind of coughing on the side.
That's fine. Don't you worry about that. I mean, they've had to listen to me blathering on all day, so I'm sure that your coughing is the least of everyone's problems. Um, okay, so Shahneila, I'd love to have you, if you're able to, introduce yourself and also tell everyone in your words what Ukie is, because I think I probably have already explained it in a bad way.
All right. Well, hi everyone. So I'm Shahneila Saeed. I'm head of education for Ukie. Um, what is Ukie? Ukie is a trade association for the video games industry here in the UK. So that means we represent the video game sector to the world really. But some of our primary functions are representing the games industry to government. So when government is making decisions, be that about business or education or trade or investment or any of the different areas that the government does work on, we represent the voice of the industry. Our mission really is to try and make the UK the best place in the world to both make games and play games and sell games. And so a lot of that work revolves obviously around the people who make the games themselves. So Ukie has a big education department to it. I am the person that heads up that department, and so I head up the education work. And my role really is bridging the gap between the students that are studying in the classroom and the people that are out there making the games that everybody loves.
Okay, what an intro. Um, I feel also like so many people who are, I guess, kind of in education, they're not necessarily aware that there are kind of trade bodies or organisations like Ukie that exist to represent an entire sector. So I've actually included Ukie in my recommended list of trade bodies. To go follow, go have an explore of the websites. Lots of, you have a great newsletter, for example, and also all the educational resources. So that is in the spreadsheet that I've shared with everyone. I'll share it again in a second. Um, I would love, because obviously you have, loads of schools watching right now. What are the things that you want, the education sector to know about the games industry, the headline stuff?
Gosh, the headline stuff, right? Okay. There's such a vast array of jobs, and hopefully some of the previous speakers have probably already outlined this, but it's not just about programming. I have having heard, so one of the misconceptions around working in games, there's several misconceptions. One of the misconceptions is around I've got to know programming. I've met plenty of really talented artists, designers, music composers, narrative designers, producers who don't know an ounce of programming, but they are brilliant at what they do and they help make games and bring them to life. So I think there's so many different skill sets and they're so wide and varied. If you enjoy storytelling, for example, narrative design is a great one. Think about it. Every game has a great story behind it. Somebody writes that story quite literally. Um, same with music and sound composition, but also things like if you just like organizing people and projects, we need producers, and these are the people that work to a budget to get a game completed within a particular time frame.
Sorry,
So,
so bad
sorry,
making you talk.
sorry. So that's one. The other one is around. I think sometimes people might see the games as a risky option, or the game sector as a somewhat kind of risky, tenuous option. It's not serious, is it really? It's not serious. But it's one of the fastest growing sectors in the UK. I mean, there's consumer spend in last year on video games and video game related content was almost £8 billion. That's huge. And globally, video games is bigger than the music and film industry combined. So it's a fantastically vast sector, and it is always evolving, always growing. It's the home of a lot of technological innovation. A lot of the advances in early AI actually happened in the games industry. So I think it's a real sector for innovation, a great deal of innovation. This idea, if anyone who likes the idea of being able to think outside the box and being at the changing face of technology, I think video games is right there.
Love that. Some great highlight points there. So hopefully everyone's image of the games industry is already changed. Also, one thing that I would love you to touch upon really quickly is how UK wide it is as well. I feel like people don't really know how much the games industry is not based in London, which is kind of a common, I guess, misconception as well.
Yeah, I mean the games industry is huge. So there's a website called gamesmap.uk, and that's freely accessible for everybody. It shows you a map of the United Kingdom and where all the games businesses are. It actually also shows you all the university and academic institutions that run a games related course, and you can filter by different types of companies like publishers, developers, and you can choose which type of games companies you're looking at. So it's an interactive Google map, but it's really good for getting a really strong picture of the games industry. It's all over the country. The London actually makes up a really small proportion of it. Our biggest clusters are outside of London. So whether you're looking at uh, Brighton, Dundee, Liverpool, Leamington Spa, like Birmingham, Sheffield, these are massive clusters and growing, and they're all over the country. So yeah, and I think in terms of access to games companies, there's a lot of people now working hybrid. So it really doesn't matter. I don't want people to feel like, oh, I live in a place that is not in a city, or it's not in one. It's not even on the one of the places with a hot heat spot on the map. There's always possibilities. There's always ways of working, and a lot of the games industry is very very open to hybrid working. So yeah.
I love that. There's something for everyone, no matter where you are. I mean, we as a business are based fully remote. There's more businesses going in that direction, especially the technical businesses. So yeah. Um, okay. So tell us, I guess, what I'm trying to skip, sorry, because I keep just ignoring all the questions I've sent everyone and just asking random questions. Okay, so how can people at school, in your eyes, because you are obviously education head at Ukie, so you have a really good understanding of what skills young people need to start building now in order to basically make themselves as hireable or as, I guess, games
Mhm.
potential as possible.
So skill you can develop. I think, well, given that there's so many a vast array of opportunities, it's not just about one particular skill set. I'd say it's about the thing that actually I can advise any students, no matter what year group they're in or what phase of their education they're in at the moment, is spend time now to explore and identify what is that one thing that you're passionate about? What is your passion? What do you really truly enjoy? Is it telling stories? Is it telling people what to do? Is it making music? Like what is that one thing that you really enjoy? And the thing is, you might not even know it. So there might be a lot of students here thinking, oh, actually, I don't even know. In which case, now is the time to try things you've never tried before, because you won't know you enjoy it unless you've given it a shot. So schools are great at being able to put lots of different opportunities in front of students. I would say try them out. Try out the most random opportunity that your school offers, because you never know what you'll like about it. You might hate it, but then you'll find a direction. So yeah, I guess the first thing is sort of find your passion, and when you find your passion, you'll find a way to turn that passion into a career. Um, and that way, whatever you'll do, you'll be successful. But when you're doing that and you have your passion, you'll be able to go, right, okay, here is this. You want to achieve mastery over your skill set. So you want to hone your skills. And so it's practice, practice, practice. So whether, as I said, whether that's composing music or programming and developing, or whatever it is, practice it, do more of it, do it all the time. Um, but then the other skills are, so that's the technical skill sets almost. But the other side of skills are also really important. Communication, the ability to communicate your ideas with a non-specialist, so someone who's unfamiliar with your work, or someone who's unfamiliar with the nature of what you're doing. It's like if I've got some computer science homework and I need to explain it to my parents who have sort of computer phobia or something. If I can do that well, that's the type of skill set we're talking about. Your ability to communicate really effectively with other people, but you're also your ability to work with other people. So practice working with other people in groups, sharing and exchanging ideas and networking. And it try and build that confidence in sort of communication, teamworking, and resilience, and be open to feedback. I would say. I think that's one thing that we hear a lot from some of the games companies about, especially about newer people coming in. Be open to feedback. Be open to critical feedback. The critical friend. We're going to get things wrong before we get it right. Every game goes through several iterations where it sort of improved and improved and improved until you get to the final one. Our own work and the student journey is just the same.
Absolutely. And I do think, you cannot improve without feedback. If you haven't
Yeah,
recognized that you need to do that thing better, you will not recognize that you need someone else to tell you in order to recognize it.
absolutely,
It's not personal. Everyone gets feedback. I get feedback all the time, and
absolutely, all the
sometimes it doesn't.
time.
It's always good. Um, okay, and so the games industry, the future of the games industry. Obviously, we've already heard from a number of speakers about how quickly technology is evolving and the games industry is growing, but Declan quite rightly pointed out that doesn't necessarily mean that the number of jobs are growing. From your perspective as a industry, having a bird's eye view of everything that's going on, what do you think the future of the industry holds? And I guess what does that mean for the young people watching?
Um, the future of the industry. I think I think industry. I think there's a combination of things happening. I think the industry is we're sort of post COVID. We're sort of going through a period where there's a bit of consolidation, but that over within the next few years, what we're going to start to see is we're going to see springboard people coming up with new ideas. People already are coming up with new ideas. They're forming together. They're forming new companies, and these companies will grow and they will get bigger. And what we will see is both technological innovation and growth in jobs. And we will see growth of the UK and a greater recognition of the UK as a centre and as a centre for excellence in terms of games development. So it's a really exciting time, and I think there is a lot, and I think the sort of previous speakers are right. Technology is changing so fast, and there is so much. I think it's becoming some of the technology that previously we thought was quite grandiose is becoming more accessible. I mean, generative AI is freely available at everybody's fingertips. Like that was impossible before. Think about it. That was like astronaut. I remember sort of having sessions with students, and we were sort of talking about what if a game could paint or an AI could paint a picture. Like, who would you credit, the artist or the programmer? And it's but that is commonplace, and it's becoming even more commonplace. And when you start to see games integrating that, more intelligent games being combined then with mixed reality experiences, we're going to have some really exciting things taking place. So I think, there's this phrase that people will sometimes say, and our sub students that are listening may or may not have heard it, but a lot of the jobs that our students today that are listening to this talk will go into haven't actually even been invented yet. And I think that's incredible. There's jobs coming up all the time that are just brand new. No one's done these jobs before. And that's because the pace of growth of both the sector and the technology and people's innovative ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a really important point to be honest, end on. Lots of there's that crazy stat, isn't there? It's probably a while old, so it probably doesn't apply anymore, but 70% of jobs that are going to be done
Yeah,
in 2030 haven't been invented yet, or something like that. But
yeah,
that is nowhere more applicable than the games industry, which is based purely on
absolutely.
point. No, though, that is a fascinating overview of the games industry. Thank you so much also for, again, dealing with the questions that I just threw at you that I did not send you in advance. I wanted to take
Okay.
of the fact that you have such good industry knowledge, and it is so important for the schools watching to know that Ukie exists. You have the most unbelievable resource, Ukipedia, which I'm obsessed with. Guys, if you want a kind of best, I guess, practice, trade body, educational resource, Ukie is the one. They do a phenomenal job of trying to spread messages amongst
Thank
schools.
you very much.
Um,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.